Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World. And in this video I'm going to give you guys an update on the tier list. I said I was not going to make this video or this update to the tier list until we got the new revolution tiers 4, 5, and 6 for SSR units, but I changed my mind and I will tell you guys why in a second. First, I wanted to mention one thing that I'm going to change on my spreadsheet. I would say probably tomorrow, and there will be a dedicated video on that. But basically, I'm going to remove all these tabs. So the dupes tab, the exclusive equipment tab, the report tab, the gear tab, and the ignition weapon early game tab. All of these are going to be removed and they're going to be replaced with a more visually appealing one. The reason why I created these tabs like this, like in the first place, was because these are easy to filter. Let's say you just wanted to see the unit that you had to focus on first. You can go in priority, say must, and you can see which units you should dupe first. Let's say you have all of those to the mandatory tier. Let's go to high, and then you see the high unit, and more or less like this. You could also filter like show me the units that are mandatory at 3 red, and you could see them. So this file was okay if you could have the filters, but since this is a shared file and you only have read writes on it, you cannot filter it. And yeah, I decided to remove all of these because it's just too messy and it made very little sense. It's also really hard to maintain, really hard double check the information because it's all over the place. It's just way too confusing. So yeah, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove all of this that I already told you guys about. But yeah, the information is still going to be available. And the final version, or like this is just a draft still, but this is more or less the kind of information I'm planning on creating. Don't look at the values because as you can see also from the names of the other ones, they're still work in progress. I still haven't updated anything. They're just random stuff. I'm trying to visually make it appealing, and then I'm going to fill in all the information taken from the other tabs. This, in my opinion, is a lot easier to view. So like here, we have the rules for BAM. You can see the rarity, okay, well, whatever. The rule, the ranking in adventure and PvP. This is going to be the nice to have ranking. I would say it doesn't make any sense to have the one of the lowest rankings in this field. I'm just going to put the highest one, and then if it's a boss unit or not. We also have the 3 tiers that you might be familiar with if you were already using my spreadsheet, and those are mandatory, recommended, and nice to have. I have that information here. I changed the colors for these, like after it was recommended by 2 guys in my Discord server, Spirit, Rosie. So thank you guys for recommending this change. It makes a lot more sense. It's a lot softer and easier to read, I would say, more pleasing. So definitely a good upgrade. And yeah, here we have the information in different columns. So we have the dupes, and like in this case for BAM, dupes mandatory 3 blue, recommended 3 red, and nice to have Rainbow 5. Then we have exclusive equipment with the different levels of upgrades, the report, the gear for each slot, ignition weapons the same. Then we have revolution as well. This one was an information that was missing in my previous tab. I'm still going to leave obviously the revolution tab. That's one of the most complicated ones, and there is no way I can synthesize the information here. But at least here I can provide a clear at a glance which tier you want to stop at, like based on the amount of investment you want to put in. So if you want to put just the bare minimum, you can go with the mandatory. If you want to have a well-rounded unit, you can go with the recommended. If you want to have the best version that you can go with the nice to have. And yeah, I also have the additional info here because some tabs had more information, like the exclusive equipment had the information of which was the stat that you were gaining from the exclusive equipment, and in this case, magic resistance. The report had the information of which preferred gift the unit had, and this information is also reported here. For the gear, This is not an information that you had before necessarily, but I figured it made sense to add it because, like in this case, we have accuracy in slot 1, but we have accuracy plus evasion in slot 3. And other units will have those two, like slot 1 and slot 3, that are different. And it was also to help you guys understand which slot I'm talking about, because it's written in game. Slot 1 is the accuracy one, but at least it's also clearer here, and you can directly see which one I'm talking about. For the ignition weapons, I just added the field for the preset that was already present in the previous tab. And in here, I will just select, as previously, the different presets. The preset tab and the endgame tab for the ignition weapons will still be there. I might change the way they appear, probably not for the preset one, but for the late game one is highly likely. When I have more time to figure out a way to make it more pleasant, I will do it. But for now, that's about it. For evolution, I don't know which kind of additional info I could add, but we'll see. If you have any ideas, feel free to recommend them down below in the comments. Then we have incompatibility. We have which units work well with this guy. I think it's a good additional information to have just in general. I also wanted to add like counters and stuff like that, but that's really difficult because there might be some like some things to change or some combinations that are specific to counter some ignition weapons that are required to counter certain units. So it's really difficult to put it in visually in this file. It's also really tricky. I figured it's best to just say this unit works well with X, Y, Z, and that's it. Let me know what you think also about this topic in the comments down below, but that's basically it. And then there will be additional notes. I think this one, it is harder, like it, well, not harder. It is impossible to filter, and there are no filters, but that's better for you guys that don't have that possibility to begin with. So I would say overall, I think this is a pretty good change and can just help remove 4 tabs for free. So that's not bad, in my opinion. But again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Now, over the main topic of today's video, that is the tier list. So I recreated, and let me just zoom in a bit. I recreated the tier list, but I put it in a way that like is separated by rank, the same way as like the Pride Win tier list is made, or also the tier list on tier list maker. And I just replicated it in Google Sheets. The thing is, I'm not sure this is the best way to represent it. If you have better ideas or if I can figure out better ideas, I will make the changes. But for now, I think this is still better than the one we had before with all the rows. That will still remain, to be honest, but I just plan to focus more on this. At least this can show me when, like when I miss on certain rankings, I have a better, like clear idea at a glance which units need to be moved. And that's what we're going to do also in a second. First, I wanted to mention why I decided to make this video now and not wait for the new evolutions. So mainly, uh, the main reason is that I figured even if Revolution is released, the fact that they get only 10 levels in additional stats is really impactful, and that will have a negative impact on all SSR units across the board. So yeah, they will not have the possibility to compete with fully built SSR Plus units in any way. They're still valuable in Adventure, but it's just like in every other mode, they're just way so much weaker. And also in Adventure mode, they are still a lot weaker because like with the right investments on some SSR Plus units, they can afford to forgo certain stats for more defenses or more offensive stats. So it's really crazy, guys. Like SSR plus units are going to be insane when people will have a lot of investment. Well, there are already people with a lot of investment on those units, and they are on a whole another level compared to SSR units. Still, I'm not going to demote units based on this because we don't know which abilities they're going to get in tier 4 and tier 5. That's why I'm still not moving them for that reason. But we also got 2 new ignition weapons, and that changed things quite a bit, I would say. And we also got a piece of information that's probably the biggest reason why I'm making this video now, is that now we can overcap resistances, and that will help us against peers and all the reductions. So that's really insane, guys. A lot of units that had increases in resistances in their kit are going to get moved at a higher tier pretty much. And in general, like they are so much valuable. Some ignition weapons got an increase in value that's crazy. So yeah, that's just the main reason. And I also wanted to mention that I removed the C plus tier because it made no sense to make a distinction here. I decided to only keep it from B going up, and C and D are just C and D. There's only trash there, so it's fine. Now, this is the current version of the tier list. I'm going to, I would say, copy it, and then let's add them to the left. Okay, it's not copying the icons over. I need to manually do that. Give me 1 second, guys. Hoping it doesn't crash because it crashed a few times already. Okay, so here we have the new version. Let me just put a date on 29/06/2024. And okay, so I'm going to make the changes that I think necessary. And I will say S plus tier can remain the same, though Hiwa might move down. Unfortunately, for the reason I was mentioning before, and also for the 2 new units we're going to get in anniversary, but I'm still waiting for them to be released. Though Hiwa is not going to be yellow, the new SSR Plus that we're going to get for anniversary, and the family head of the Yawn family, I don't know actually, could be yellow, but who knows. So yeah, she would move down, but for now she stays there. She's still like crazy, crazy good. No way in hell she's not worthy of that spot, but just mentioning she could go down. Compressed rack, I don't have anything to mention on that guy. This guy is in A plus. I'm pretty okay with it. We could move hats to S tier, but I still don't feel like it really makes that much sense. A plus is already a really good score, and it totally deserves that, but not higher than that. Uh, mm, well, Go Sang, not really used it. Is a good unit early on, later on, still has a nice effect, but I don't know. I would just leave her at A, is fine. Data Urek, I really hate that guy. That guy is going to go to B. Makes no sense. I'm going to delete it. It's a bit tricky to move stuff here now, but okay. So Data Urek down to B. Then we have, let's see. Well, actually, you know what, guys? Let's move Hats to S tier. I think it makes sense. That guy is really, really strong. Shibisu could also arguably go there, but I think A plus is still a very good spot for him. Vespa still remaining B plus. These 3 guys, arguably they could go down, but I think with enough investment they will still deal damage, so it's fine. Rack is moving up. Rack is going to be here, potentially more because of the changes to the resistances that I mentioned before. This guy can give like 80% in 2 of the resistances, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I misclicked there. Let's just go here, Rack. Now mine is the pretty low dupe level, but this one increases defense, doesn't matter. This one increases physical and magic resistance by 50% at level 2, 40% level 1. That means 80% at level 5. That's insane, guys. That's a lot. That will help protecting against like those annoying peers and resistance reductions. Now we also have the duration that's pretty short, but I think this one extends it. No, it doesn't. Okay, then 5 seconds is a bit slow. Yeah, he's a bit low, so I don't know. But still, I think this guy is a lot better now. Has a good utility, a weird kit, but it's not too bad. I think he deserves the B spot because B is still not really that usable, but definitely better than before. Doesn't deserve the same rank as this useless guy. Now, arguably, Hats could go down to D tier, but there would be no one in C unless I move down these guys. So let's leave him there for now. Now we can move on to purple. And I would say with the S plus, Joaquin is a bit trickier. He has more counters than Vivi, in my opinion, but his AoE is just insane. So I would say he is going to stay there still. All of these units deserve this spot, in my opinion, so they will stay there. Gustang could fit in there, but I still think is slightly below what it would need to be there. So it's not going to move up. What's going to happen though is that Kunagero is going to be moved down to A plus because now with Yura you don't really play much. If you're free to play, you might play Yura and Kunagero in the same team, but eventually Kunagero is going to be replaced by Gustang. That guy has like Gustang has an attack buff as well. The Gustang also has heals, which are not bad. All of the units in the purple team are running resistances pretty much. So they're not taking a lot of damage, but they are taking damage because now like we cannot take one damage anymore since a few months. We cannot take one damage. We take at least 1% damage. So we still get the health reduced, and Gustan can still heal a bit. And also this guy deals quite a lot of damage. So yeah, all that Kunagiri is better at is just decreasing defense and a bit of AoE crowd control. But this guy also has a swiftness decrease. So I would say overall Gustang gets the spot. So yeah, Kunagiri removed. And Kiseiya actually as well. I mean, she's still the best one-shot unit, actually the only one-shot unit that this team has, but I don't feel like she's really that needed and she works really that well. Now that we have all these firepower, I don't think she's that needed. I'm moving her down to A plus. Feel free to not agree with me. I get it. She's still strong. She's still really, really great. It's just, I don't know. She doesn't feel like an S tier to me anymore. So yeah. For the A tier, I would say Endorse is still there. With high investment, you can still use her for her utility as well, and not just as a bait. So she's okay, but probably could be moved down to B plus. But for now, I'm not going to do it. Then we have Nare. Nare is great. She's not really. I'm not personally using her a lot, but I can see her kit being useful. So I'd say A is a safe spot for her. But Rachel is definitely moving down. I think nobody would use her. Her DPS is like destroyed by all the other options we have here. Probably even Gustan can do more damage than her. And Karaka now has access to a grouping skill, which makes her utility go down in value as well. So she's B tier now. Could go lower, but I think B plus is safe. So yeah. One more thing that changes here is Ghost. This guy is going to move up to A tier, in my opinion. This guy has a crazy increase in, well, we can also have a look directly in magic resistance, can shred the enemy magic resistance. So overall, with the changes to resistances, this guy is crazy valuable. We have a provoke on this guy, which together with the changes I just mentioned a lot of times already, is he can overcap and get 40% resistances from Yongle, which makes him like invincible against like peers of the magic type, and the physical type as well is going to be really, really tanky. So this guy is crazy. It's going to boost the damage by a lot because 80% magic resistance shred is a ton, and 80% magic resistance increase is also a ton. This guy has a self heal when he receives crits, has shields from the exclusive equipment, is really, really good guy. So for me, he is A. Now we're going to get Mad Dog soon. He's probably going to be somewhat of a frontline unit with invincibility. So I don't know. It's a weird situation for Mad Dog at the moment because purple is really stacked. They don't need him. We'll see exactly what his kit is going to do, but I don't know. I think it's just going to be a random unit that's not going to be used that much, unless they make him busted, and then that's fine. The last change here in the purple element is going to be Verdi. She's moving up a bit. I cannot see her in the same tier as Lurker and Prince for adventure. She's weak, but at least she's HATS level. She could even go B because HATS is really HATS. So she could go higher, but I will at least move her to C for now. And that's it for this element as well. Now for red, we have 4 units in S plus, but we have nobody in S. And I'm going to change that right now. The first unit we're going to move up is going to be Red Mask Warrior. I use her a ton. She tanks like crazy. Well, anyone with 100% resistance is tanks like crazy, but her pierce that she gives to the teammates is physical pierce, but works really, really well with Jin Sung Ha. So to me, for that alone, she deserves that spot. She has crazy high survivability. She has a silence. She has AoE stun. Really, really like her. So she's going to stay at the S tier. Next, we have Warion, the standard one. She's also moving up to S tier. She's used everywhere. She's a crazy good energy battery. So she's definitely going to stay in the S tier as well. So now we have removed both Warions. They're both S tier now. And the next change, I would say a Crafter, I'm moving him down to be fair to A. I cannot afford to see this guy higher than Xiaxia. And I think A is enough. We really have good DPS units here, though we don't really have an SSR DPS unit, but like they're pretty cheap already. Jinsung doesn't really need too many dupes, and Viol doesn't either. So overall, we're not in a bad spot. We don't need a Crafter. You don't need to build him. So I'm moving him down to A, even though he can still do a good job. I don't think it's really that important anymore. And one more change, Vicente is going to be moved down to B plus because that guy, after we got Jin Sung Ha, like his use cases really were reduced a lot. Now that we have the additional like 3 essence facility wheel for every element, and now that we have the origin orb extended, we have access to so much accuracy that we don't really need a guy that can reduce the enemy evasion. Even though it could come in handy later on, but I think for now is not really necessary. And yeah, it's going to stay there in the B plus tier for now. And in the future, it might come up again, but as of right now, I don't really see any reason to play him. Now, the only unit that remains in the A plus tier is Michael. And I think he will stay there because he at least has a different use case. As Jinsung and Vicente, he can target whoever you want, not necessarily the highest attack unit. And it's pretty cheap to build. It's just a red 1 SSR unit, so it's fairly easy to build. And yeah, we have Xiaxia. To be fair, I will move her to A plus because she's a good unit to play in every single red team. She can just heal your units and provide energy whenever she overheals, and just provide the team-wide attack buff to everyone. Is not bad at all. Nothing crazy. She doesn't deserve higher than A plus, I believe, but definitely A plus is where she stays. So that said, let's move on to the B plus. In the B plus, I will say that Apple could also go down, to be fair, because again, the value of decreasing the enemy evasion or increasing your team's accuracy is not as relevant anymore, but she really has a good kit. So overall, I will still leave her there. She does the same thing as Vicente pretty much now, so I think that's a well-deserved spot. Then we have Romay. For me, Romay doesn't have a bad kit, but it's just nothing we really need in this element. We have a really great unit already, and she's going to move down to B just because I don't see very like many cases where you would use her. So that's the only reason why. And we are moving then, nobody else. Yellowy to me is still deserving of the N spot, and Vicente as well. I just moved him down, so that's pretty much it. For B, again, we just moved her, so nothing to change here. We have C tier. For the C tier, I will move down Amigo charts, which really has no value, and Anak, which also has no value. Those two are going to go down, and this guy is the only one left in C, and he deserves it because he does have like magic resistance decrease, but it's nothing major, so that's where he's going to stay. Now for the blue element, I will say that uh, these guys can pretty much stay there, in my opinion, at least these first three. Data Machine only got better with the revolution. She's really insane, actually. She's also a monster in PvP. She can do whatever she wants, so love her. She could also deserve a higher spot than S+, but that's all we have for now, so that's it. Escanor, crazy good. He only got better with these changes to resistances. And Kaiser, she's just a monster. Now, I want to mention one thing. The order at which they're positioned was first because of like alphabetical order. So yeah, there is no relevance as to whether this unit is better than the other. No, they're all in the same tier. I did not organize them based on their strength. Okay, so they're just random. Kaiser is also a unit that would deserve more than S+, but she's going to stay here for obvious reasons. So yeah, she's just too strong, too tanky. Tanky obviously with resistances, and their damage is just insane. Doesn't matter if you are against green, she can still win, she can still carry. She's just crazy. So she's going to stay there. I'm going to move down, to be honest, Meliodas. He does have a great build with Rihanna to one-shot the whole enemy team. So for that, he deserves S. He's strong overall, has a really good kit, but I would say I don't really see him as S plus anymore now that we have other beasts in this element. So yeah, I would just move it down. If you don't agree, let me know. But yeah, for now, I'm going to move it down. Same thing for Urek. He is great as a suicide bomber. He has great revolution to be fair, but warriors unfortunately do not have good additional nodes in the revolution. But it does have a good T4 and Tier 5 ability, but nothing that crazy good. So to me, a unit that needs to be killed to do something means that the more investment you have, the worse it gets. And also using him as a normal unit doesn't really carry. It can tank, it can help your team survive, it can cleanse the enemy buffs, which is huge. That's still the only unit that can do it. Probably the new units that are going to be released in Anniversary could have a similar mechanic. I can see Yeon Hirang having something like that, but we'll see. So Urek is moving down. He's still an awesome unit. His buff removal is great, but it cannot really carry you that hard, so he's been moved down. Then we have, let's see, I would say Kunran is going to be moved down to A+. It's just two single target is not really going to carry you that hard. It's probably your, well, without probably, is your only SSR option if you do not have the collab, but still nothing that crazy, to be fair. So yeah, is just going down to A+. Now, we could argue that blank deserves the S+ spot, though if we look at which unit we have in S+, I don't think that's the case. Like, you don't literally need her anymore. These guys cannot die. You don't need heals. She has a buff, but her buff just goes to the unit with the lowest HP, which is random most of the times. So I don't really feel like I want to put her up there. Though she could deserve it, but for now, let's leave her there, I think. So I'm going to reorganize these two guys, and that's it. Okay. Then we have Blarode. I think this guy could potentially go down, but still is the only assassin or Ryana user we have here at the moment other than these two guys. And it can only target the backline. It makes sense that he's lower than those two, and he can only do one thing. Could go down to A to be fair, but I will leave him in A+ for now. Then we have, I would say the next unit, Kurdan is fine in A, actually only got better, but probably before A was too much for him. Now I think it's just right. Leroro is also a good one. I would say Atzling is just normal, nothing crazy. It's going to stay in B+. Horiang, to be fair, got better with these changes. He also has a crazy increase in magic and physical resistance for quite a long time. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 16 seconds, but let's just double check it real quick. If you go over the skills and we go here, 16 seconds. This is pretty good. Could move up, to be fair. At least B+, I think it's reasonable for him. He has a taunt, he has a shield for the units, like for his allies. He has some crowd controls and also decreases the enemy attack. I would say overall not a bad unit at all. Yeah, probably deserves more than B. I will say I don't want to leave B empty, so we'll just put him in B+ and put down Hatzling. That's what I'm going to do. So yeah, that happened. That guy is B+, and Hatzling is now B. To me, that makes total sense. Now, here we are with the C tier, and here there is a pretty big change. So this Novik guy is moving up all the way to A+. Now, his main downside is that unfortunately, like he has no survivability in his kit. He has a tank, like he is a tank with no provoke. But now we have Sela, and now we have overcapping resistances. Those are the two biggest changes that brought this guy to A+. Well, there is also a third factor. This guy boosts basic attacks, and we have Sundance and Kaiser now. This guy is just a beast. He's going to boost the damage of your Kaiser or even your Kunran, to be fair, by a huge margin. He's going to provide an 80% physical resistance to the allies in the circle. If you pair him with Escanor, that's 110% increase in resistances, which you should already have units that start with 100%. So that's like 210% physical resistance. Well, for him, 240 because he will have Sela. So he has a 30% increase at the beginning until the enemies die. And that means even if the enemy has 140% pierce, they are still dealing no damage to you. This is madness to me. This is crazy. So this guy, for me, deserves a pretty high spot. His special move is now crazy, and we can easily give him 100% resistances. So no problems whatsoever. I really like that guy. I like went autoplay for a lot of floors. If you saw here, I'm now at 69.36. When I started autoplay, it was like auto progress. I was at 66-8, and I cleared 3 floors without swapping ignition weapons, without changing teams. Didn't matter if my Novik plus Kaiser team went against green. they still destroy them. Crazy to me, crazy. So yeah, this guy is definitely up there now. And I'd say that's all for blue. This guy could go lower, but I don't want to leave C empty, so he's going to stay there. Now we have the last element, which is green. And for green, I would say S plus, totally nailed. These two guys are crazy good. And we're also going to move regular Yuri there. So yeah, I think this makes sense. The only three SSR plus units we have for green are all S plus tier, which is pretty cool. So yeah, these three units are great. The rest of this element is just weird. We do have two units in S. I think this guy got pretty good now that we have a lot of attack-based units, basic attack-based unit. And unfortunately, Kaiser is a physical damage dealer and not magic one. So Novik is better than him. Had she been magic damage, probably a regular Dororo could have found a spot in the team. But yeah, she's going to like regular Dororo is going to be crazy with Mashini for sure. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Child and Dorsey. I'm not really a big fan of this unit, but she does have like uh, at times a one shot on the passive when all goes well, and she does have energy block on the special move. There could be instances where she actually deals quite a bit of damage, but I cannot really push myself to like this unit. She's staying in S, but if it were for me, it should be A, I think. But I get it. She's good. We don't really have a lot of other options. She's staying there, but I don't know. Then let's see. We have what else? Rachel. I would say Rachel in A plus. He's okay if you build her with resistances. Otherwise, she should go lower probably. We also have Shiliel. She's a Rayana user like many others. But I don't know. Actually, I'd feel like she could go down to A. To be fair, she doesn't really have anything more than Lorraine or Misang or Yeonhee for that matter. So I will put her down to A to be fair. Like, yeah, if she survives the fight, she could have some good damage, and you can make her survive the fight now with Sela or in general if you give her resistances. But I think her damage is not really that high anyway. And the fact that a lot of her kit revolves around evasion and she's a mage is still mind blowing to me. So she goes down to A just because of that. Yeonhee, she's staying in A plus. This unit is good if you use her like traditional supportive sets, but she's really, really good with Rayana. She can one-shot the enemy team if they don't have a data machine, obviously. She can one-shot the whole enemy team with a super quick ultimate boosted by Rayana. You will need at least a Runda unit next to her to give her energy. I think that should suffice. But just in case if you cannot pull it off with just that, then pair with Bam as well. And she's going to cast the special move as the first thing, and she's going to destroy the enemy team. Really, really cool. If you don't have her, well, nothing you can try, to be honest, but okay. Then for the A rank, we have Lore, pretty good at no investment. Well, not necessarily no investment, but pretty low investment. Is going to cast the special move as the first attack he does. With the Rayana, that's going to be an almost guaranteed one shot. It's a bit tricky to target the right unit, but definitely a really good one. Then we have Lozelle, basically the only support other than regular Leroro. And she's okay. She has a cleanse, so she can cleanse your debuffs. She has good heal. She's a bit dumb because she walks into the enemy team, but she has like you can build her with the resistances, so that's fine. But I don't think she deserves more than A, and definitely doesn't deserve lower than that, so she's staying there. Misang, she just one-shots one unit, nothing more. It's still quite disappointing. She could go down to B plus. but it's still probably the easiest way to one-shot an Urek still, because Laure is a bit tricky and Urek will have some time to do stuff before he dies. Shida is just weird. Yunhee is probably the best bet to kill so Urek, but yeah, I don't know. Misang is still quite safe, so she's staying there as well. B plus is going to stay empty, I would say. There is no one I want to move up and nobody I want to move down, so that's going to stay like this. B, we have Chun Chung, I think, I don't remember exactly his name, but this guy is good. He's giving resistances, and now that we can overcap those, that's great. And those are like green and blue resistances, but still pretty good. You can regen energy, you can heal. Overall, a pretty standard support and is an SR unit, so it's pretty cheap. Then we have Mulov, he's staying in C, doesn't really have a lot of value. I'm just wondering if his Salmon also gets the benefits from Sundance. I don't know, I haven't tested it. If you know, let me know. That could boost his rank up to B plus maybe. But for now, that I don't know is just useless as usual. Shane, nothing much changed. With Sela, she can survive now for sure, but her damage is just subpar and she doesn't really have a lot of utility. So why would you play her? She's staying in C. Same thing with Yuri. Okay, she can survive for sure if we give her resistances, but then what? So to me, that's a no. Edin, I don't know. That guy is just Edin. I don't think I need to give any explanation. And that's about all the changes I made to the tier list guy. Guys, let me know what you think. If you think I should like rethink some of my changes or if you agree with most of those. Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.